Good afternoon, and welcome to our daily devotion for this Holy Monday, 2020. Today, as well as for the rest of the week, I plan to share a story that we can read about in Matthew's Gospel, a story that took place during Holy Week. And today we'll be hearing about what took place in chapter 21, verses 12 through 17, or in other words, what took place immediately after Christ was welcomed in Jerusalem with palm branches and shouts of hosannas. Let us hear chapter 21, verses 12 through 17. Then Jesus entered the temple and drove out all who were selling and buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables and the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. He said to them, "It is written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer,' but you are making it a den of robbers." The blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he cured them. But when the chief priests and the scribes saw the amazing things he had done, and heard the children outside crying, "Hosanna to the Son of David," they became angry and said to him, "Do you hear what these are saying?" Jesus said to him, "Yes. Have you never read, 'Out to the mouths of infants and nursing babies, you have prepared praise for yourself'?" He left them, went out to the city to Bethany, and spent the night there. Yesterday, when I shared my sermon I had prepared for Palm Sunday, I recall making a few comments about how unsettling it seems that people went from shouting hosannas and then just a matter of a few days, cries for crucifixion. It just seemed like just a few days and it seemed so wrong. And yet today, after hearing what took place on that very same day, I think it seems rather apparent as to how the ball got started and began to roll. In short, Christ came to a place of worship, a place steeped in protocol and hierarchy and tradition, and literally began to stir the pot when it's anything and everything that he saw and thought was wrong within his heart. Whether it be that den of robbers observation, or how about the fact that there were those who were blind, those who were lame, those who were needing help right then and there, right in front of everyone, who seemed to be often ignored, and Christ took the time to heal them. You see, one would think with everything that was being seen, there's only so much of a blind eye one can turn before any of us can turn as people of faith, before our hearts just want to respond accordingly. And maybe that's a lesson we can learn about Holy Week, about life. That maybe as we look upon life as we know it, there's only so much that we can see and politely ignore before we respond with what our hearts might be encouraging us to do. Yet, how often maybe we don't have the courage, or maybe the audacity. Maybe we have our own anxious thoughts or reluctances therein, or maybe we feel a little vulnerable, a little uncertain to convey such thoughts. In short, we often consciously choose not to respond to any or all uneasy feelings. Which brings me to what I kind of want to draw y'all's attention to today. Because we looked at what took place immediately after Christ arrived to Jerusalem. Take a look at what took place immediately after that moment in the temple. It says right there in verse 17 that when he left, Christ went to Bethany. He spent the night there, implying that he was staying with, or at least within close proximity, those dear friends such as Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. You know, good friends who are like family to him during this final week he was with us. During what would definitely be an anticipated time of need. It was Holy Week after all. Everyone else just didn't know that yet. In fact, tradition often speculates that Jesus stayed the night in Bethany every night during Holy Week until that fateful night he was betrayed on Thursday. Not that Bethany was some sort of fortress or solitude or anything like that. No, I think it was something different. I mean, it seems that perhaps because of the friendships, i.e. the relationships that he had and shared there, his heart, his soul, he just simply loved being there. And how does the phrase go? home is where the heart is. I mean, this was a place he could go to, feel safe and secure from all alarms. And this is something I think we need to faithfully consider at this moment here and now. Because with everything that's going on, do we have a place where our hearts can be, where we feel safe, where we feel secure, and so forth? Physically, I hope most of us who are watching this video at this moment are physically at our homes. But what about those moments where perhaps emotionally or spiritually we may have a need? Do we have a place where we can go and feel safe and secure? Perhaps that place for you is the screen you are looking upon right now, at this very moment. But ask yourself, as you navigate life at this very moment, this very difficult time, either through social media, by phone, or by some other means, have you been preparing your heart to help others feel safe and secure as well? Because we know the need to be in contact with one another as a family of faith. And having the courage, the willingness, even if we might be a little anxious or reluctant to do so, we need to share with one another, whether it be through a screen such as this, a phone call, a text message, or some other means. Because let me say one final thing. We know the world we once knew is no longer safe. There indeed has been the sound of an alarm. And yet, do we feel safe, at least at this moment, because we know that Christ, through faith, has been with us each and every step of the way? My friends, let's go into this week confident of God's strong arms embracing us all, resting in that wonderful, beautiful sweetness of God's love in every moment and of day and night and anywhere we may be at this very moment. May God give us peace. Amen.